Hey YouTube, Pokemon Trainer Harry Ghost here, and today I'm starting a new series revolving around competitive content in Pokemon Champions. Today I am bringing a Mega Absol team for you all. This is going to be my very first recorded video, so I am very excited about it. So yeah, this is the team on screen which I am going to be showcasing in this video today. We are running Absolite Absol, Bright Powder, Farigera with Ally Switch, Leftovers Corviknight, White Hub Garchomp, Citrus Berry Incineroar, and Focus Sash Whimsicott. So yeah, let's just jump right into the battle. So yeah, my very first opponent, her name is Jerusoul, which is very interesting name. But yeah, my opponent leads off with Vespasian and Pelipper as I lead off with Whimsicott and Absol. So first turn, since my opponent has led off with Vespasian, I do threaten their Vespasian with Absol's Dark Stab. But at the same time, it is very obvious that they are going to switch in, but at the same time, once again, Vespasian is very broken, so I don't want to deal with it, and I will double target if I have to, if that means I can knock it out. But as expected, my opponent switches out their Vespasian and switches in their Glimmora, trying to bait me into attacking the Vespasian slot so that they can activate Toxic Debris. I do click Tailwind and knock off into the opposing Vespasian slot, but Glimmora comes flying in and unfortunately sets up Toxic Debris on my side. My opponent's Pelipper clicks Icy Wind, lowering both my Absol and Whimsicott's speed, which is fine because we do still have Tailwind up. Now this turn I do not mind losing my Whimsicott at all to this Glimmora because Whimsicott's job is to set up Tailwind, which it has already done, and because of Tailwind I know that I do still outspeed the opposing Glimmora, which it is Mega Glimmora. The Mega Glimmora clicks Spiky Shield as I double target the Pelipper slot because, as I said, I do not mind losing my Whimsicott anymore. Its job is to set up Tailwind. We double target the Pelipper slot with Moonblast and Knockoff, which is enough to KO this Pelipper, which is fine by me because we are at 3 to 4, right? We are at 3 in my opponent's side versus 4 on my side. We do knock off the Pelipper's Choice Scarf, so that means it was Choice Scarf Pelipper with Water Stab, Hurricane, Icy Wind and Tailwind, I am going to assume. My opponent switches in the Incineroar, the top meta Pokemon of this regulation. As I said, I do not mind losing my Whimsicott, so since my opponent's Mega Glimmora clicks Spiky Shield, the last turn I can Encore it into Spiky Shield, but they do switch out their Mega Glimmora expecting the Encore, which is fine, and they do click Parting Shot into my Whimsicott slot, so now we are at -1 attack with my Mega Absol and -1 special attack with my Whimsicott. In comes the Mega Glimmora once again, and the Vespasian was switched out at the beginning of the turn, trying to avoid the Encore, I'm going to assume, because I do not see any other reason why you would switch out your Mega Glimmora at that point if you were not expecting Encore, which Encore is a very common move, so it is definitely what they were expecting. This turn, since Vespasian is right in front of me, I will double target once again because, as I said, I do not like Vespasian. It is extremely broken, and the combined efforts from Moonblast and Knockoff is able to knock out the opposing Vespasian. Finally, my opponent's Mega Glimmora knocks out my Whimsicott, and down goes Whimsicott, which is fine. Now my Absol is at -1 attack, and so that means my damage is reduced significantly as my opponent's Incineroar is going to come right back up to lower me to -2 attack, as in comes Incineroar and in comes my Garchomp. Now Garchomp is 1 base speed higher than Mega Glimmora because Mega Glimmora has 101 base speed and I have 102 on my Garchomp. The opponent's Incineroar Intimidate does affect my Mega Absol, but the White Hub on my Garchomp negates that Intimidate drop. Now this turn there is absolutely nothing stopping me from clicking Earthquake, because if they try to click Fake Out into my Garchomp, it will get blocked by my Farigiraff's Armor Tail. So in comes Farigiraf. My opponent does try to click Fake Out into the Farigiraf, into the Garchomp. I'm going to assume, not the Farigiraf, as I do click Earthquake, and because Glimora is quad weak, extremely effective now. The Mega Glimora goes down and Incineroar takes a lot of damage. It hits Citrus Berry, which brings it back above 50% health, but it is not enough to save it. And my opponent clicks the forfeit button, which is fine. Yay, we do win a battle with Mega Absol. So now moving on to the next battle, we do have uh, this battle is versus Professor Sai, and my opponent leads off with Inky and Sukochi, which is Delphox and Aerodactyl, as I lead off with Absol and Incineroar. Now, this turn, my Absol threatens the opposing Delphox with Dark Stab. So I expect my opponent to click Fake Out to protect with their Delphox, as I click Fake Out into the opposing Aerodactyl, expecting it to click Tailwind. But so I click Swords Dance and I click Swords Dance on my Absol and Fake Out on my Aerodactyl. So my opponent is making their play, which is fine. You should take as much time as you want making your play. So yeah, as I said, expecting Dark Stab on my from my Absol into their Delphox, I click Fake Out into their Aerodactyl slot. My opponent Mega evolves their Delphox into Mega Delphox and clicks Protect, as I was expecting that they would not want to have their Delphox be faked out and knocked off or whatever Dark Stab I have. As I click Fake Out into their Aerodactyl slot, which they do click Protect with their Aerodactyl slot as well, which I was not expecting, but it is fine by me. My main goal was to stall out Tailwind. I do not mind. I wanted them to not click Tailwind in case I can potentially outspeed their Mega Delphox with my Mega Absol, even though Mega Delphox has a higher base speed than Mega Absol. This turn, I protect my Absol and Darkest Lariat into the opposing Mega Delphox slot, because there is no reason to Mega Evolve Absol right now if I'm just clicking Protect, because unfortunately Absol gains 0 stat points in its defense or special defense stats. All the stat points it gains upon Mega Evolution are into its attack, special attack or speed, which is fine. Like 115 base speed is absolutely fine, and 150 base attack is absolutely fine as well. 115 base special attack, I mean, if you want to run Calm Mind at Mega Absol, you can do that, because 115 is decent, but unfortunately it does not gain any stat points into its defense stats. This turn I had clicked Darkest Lariat into the opposing Mega Delphox, doing a lot of damage. Now this turn I click Play Rough into the Incineroar, because I want this Incineroar down, because if I keep it, if this Incineroar stays alive, it is going to intimidate spam me. My opponent tries to Encore Lock me into Protect with their Mega Delphox, but because Mega Absol has Magic Bounce, they cannot do that, and I do a decent amount of damage into the opposing Incineroar with Play Rough. Unfortunately, since Mega Absol's coverage is kinda bad, like it's not that bad, but it is pretty bad. Like it learns Superpower to hit Dark types. I guess you have Play Rough to hit the opposing fighting types, which Play Rough hits opposing dark types as well, but it does not learn any super effective coverage for fairy types. So that is why, since we have dark type too, we have Play Rough to hit fighting and dark types, we have Play Rough to hit fighting, dark and fairy types as well. we do a lot of damage into the opposing Sinistcha. And this turn I protect with my Mega Absol because I do not want to take heat wave damage if I can avoid it, and click Parting Shot into the opposing Delphox, trying to lower its offensive stats just a little bit. In comes the opposing Incineroar. As I said, my opponent is going to Intimidate spam me, so that is why I will attempt to deal as much damage into the Incineroar as possible. My opponent tries to click Heat Wave into my Mega Absol slot, but I am detected from the attack and Incineroar reverses the attack. Parting Shot goes through into the Mega Delphox slot and lowers its special attack by 1 stage. In comes Garchomp. Now Garchomp cannot hit the opposing Mega Delphox with Earthquake because of Mega Delphox's Levitate ability, but I do have Rock Slide to hit it super effectively. But at the same time, there is Fake Out active on my opponent's side, so expecting the Fake Out, I click Protect with my Garchomp, and because I could have taken the Fake Out, but what if they click Psychic Stab into my Garchomp as well, which this is what they do. They click Fake Out and they click Psychic into my Garchomp, so it is good that I protected. Now I know that I am threatened by Encore, but they are threatened by Fake Out, so I expect them to protect their Mega Delphox with Fake Out, and maybe they didn't expect, because they don't know that I am running Rock Slide instead of Dragon Claw or any Dragon Stab. So instead of protecting their Mega Delphox, they click Encore into my Garchomp. And I do expect the Incineroar to switch in since it is threatened by Garchomp's Ground Stab. So I attack with Darkest Lariat into the Incineroar slot. As I expected, my opponent switches into Sinistcha, hoping to take the Dragon attack, and Sinistcha is going to be pelted by the Darkest Lariat. As I said, I wanted to go for my Dark Stab, expecting Incineroar to switch out, but Garchomp is Encore locked. It did go for double protect. Even after getting Encore locked, it went for protect again, so it has had 2 Encores. It has gotten its double protect, so the possibility of getting this triple protect is very low. My opponent is threatened by Dark Stab with my Incineroar and into their opposing Mega Delphox and their Sinistcha, so they make a double switch out their Aerodactyl and switch out their Mega Delphox and Sinistcha into their Aerodactyl and Incineroar. The Intimidate drop gets negated by White Herb, and so basically my Garchomp takes no damage whatsoever. The Aerodactyl has its attack and special attack lowered by the Parting Shot, as I do switch into my Absol because Incineroar is on the field, so there is no need to worry about Intimidate drops anymore. I do click Swords Dance again because if I want to deal damage to this Incineroar, like more than tickle it, I have to click Swords Dance because Incineroar is such a bulky Pokemon. This turn I switch out my Garchomp because there is no, I could have kept it and clicked Protect, but what is that going to do? So I switch out my Garchomp into my Incineroar, so at least I have some momentum into the game. I have active Fake Out the next turn. My opponent is making their play, which is fine. As I said, my opponent switches out their Aerodactyl into their Mega Delphox, which is very interesting because what if I click my Dark Stab into the opposing Aerodactyl slot? It is fine, as I do switch in my Whimsicott, expecting them to go for Tailwind so that I can Encore lock them into Tailwind this turn, but they do switch out their Aerodactyl for whatever the thoughts they had of switching out their Aerodactyl, even though I could have easily clicked Knock Off into the Delphox slot. It is fine. Now I do threaten the uh, Mega Delphox with Tailwind knockoff now, since I am at +2 attack now. So I do expect the Delphox to protect, and I double target the Sinistra slot expecting Incineroar to switch in, but in comes the Aerodactyl, and I do double, since I've double targeted the Sinistra slot expecting Incineroar to switch in, the Moonblast brings Aerodactyl down below half, and play rough KOs the Aerodactyl, which means their Tailwind setter has been knocked down. That means they cannot get any more speed control this game. Meanwhile, my speed control Pokemon is still alive, and I do have all four of my Pokemon, while they only have 3 right now, one of which is a very low health. Not low health, but it is not very low health, but it is low health. It is not like it is above, it is below 50% right now. This turn I have no reason to keep my Whimsicott in and take the fake out potential heat wave. So I switch in my Incineroar to get my active fake out. I detect with my Mega Absol because I don't want to take heat wave damage. I can fake out the opposing Mega Delphox next turn and click my Dark Stab or whatever, click Flare Up into Incineroar, whatever. Heat wave hits my Incineroar, does little damage. Now this turn I do click Flare Up into the opposing Incineroar, because even if Sinistra switches in, it will get knocked out, and fake out into Mega Delphox is absolutely free, because even if Sinistra switches in that slot and regains the opposing Incineroar slot, health, it does not matter, but my opponent forfeits, so we won this game either way. Now on to the last battle. This is against B. So my opponent leads off with Gengar and Incineroar, and expecting Gengar and Incineroar lead, potential Incineroar fake out, Perish Song, Mega Gengar, all that. I switch in my Farigiraf and my Mega Absol, because I do threaten the opposing Mega Gengar with my Mega Absol. And because, as I said, Mega Absol has such low defensive stats, I am running dual screen Farigiraf so that we can increase Absol's bulk just a little bit. This turn my opponent clicks Mega with their Gengar to Mega Evolve into Mega Gengar, activate the Shadow Tag, you know how it goes. Try to click Perish Song and fake out, but they cannot click fake out into my Mega Absol because of Armor Tail. I do Mega Evolve my Absol into Mega Absol to gain my +20 base attack. Even though I am at -1 attack, knockoff will still do a lot of damage. Now, expecting that play, that they would not click Perish Song this turn, because there is a Dark type Pokemon threatening their Mega Gengar. They would protect, so I predict their protect and click knockoff into the opposing Incineroar. Knockoff with Soppleberry, which is going to help me in the future of this battle, as you'll see. The opposing Incineroar clicks Throat Chop into my Farigiraf, trying to knock me out or deal a lot of damage, but it is fine. We have light screen set up, and this turn I'm going to click Reflect as well. My opponent, I was expecting Perish Song, but my opponent has Substitute, so I was expecting it to take a lot of damage or switch out or something, but they have Substitute, so that means I do not do a lot of damage. Essentially Gengar only loses 25% of its health this turn, which is a good thing. Substitute Mega Gengar, I can see it being a good set. My opponent tries to click Parting Shot into my Absol, trying to lower my offensive stats, but because Mega Absol has Magic Bounce, I switch out and lower the opposing Incineroar's attacking stats and click and successfully get my Reflect off. If my opponent would have clicked Throat Chop into my Farigiraf slot, we would not have been able to get the Reflect off, which is fine. Now this turn I do threaten both Incineroar and Mega Gengar with my Ground Stab. So expecting a ground type move, my opponent switches in their Levitate Pokemon, their Rotom, and click Protect with their Gengar. and since I do not have protect on my furry giraffe, we have to take this earthquake unfortunately, because I cannot even switch out of because of the shadow tag. Unfortunately, we do crit our own fire giraffe, but we do crit the opposing rotom as well, so karma is real. Once again, I do not have protect on my fire giraffe, so I cannot click protect or switch out into my Corby Knight. Expect to click fake out to click earthquake next to it, so I'm forced to go for rock slide to not KO my furry giraffe, because that is my only attacking move. I have rock slide and earthquake as my only attacking moves, and swords dance because I am max health, max speed Garchomp instead of max attack and max speed, which having max attack would have been helpful, because you will see why max attack Garchomp would have helped me a lot. I predict the opposing Gengar to click Shadow Ball into my Garchomp slot, so I click Ally Switch so that Shadow Ball goes into Furry Giraffe, but my opponent clicks Sludge Bomb into my Furry Giraffe, which goes into Garchomp and poisons it, which is depressing because now my Garchomp is on timer. But thankfully, once again, since karma is real, we do flinch the opposing Rotom. Now this turn I click Hyper Voice and I click Rock Slide once again, because I cannot click Ally Switch once again, because Ally Switch can only be clicked in consecutive turns. My opponent clicks Protect to try to stall me out with poison damage, I can assume, which is fine. Once again I click Rock Slide, do very little damage to this Rotom, because once again, as I said, I am max health, not max attack. My opponent's Rotom gets flinched once again, and Hyper Voice does not kill the Rotom unfortunately, but brings it very low. Now the light screen has worn off and I do click Rock Slide once again, trying to just KO this Rotom and break the Gengar substitute, because I know my opponent's Gengar is going to go for substitute this turn. So my opponent clicks Protect once again, because my opponent just loves Protect, I guess. So they click Protect Substitute. Very nice play, because they are able to preserve their Pokemon by making those plays. I cannot blame them for making these plays, like Protect Substitute. They are able to preserve their opponent's health points. Unfortunately, as I said, because I am not max attack, Rock Slide does not break the opposing Mega Gengar Substitute, which is very depressing. Now this turn I make a misplay. There was no reason for me to go for Earthquake Ally Switch this turn, but I was fearing what if Rock Slide missed and Gengar Substitute did not get broken. So it is not a misplay, I guess, but I do not know. Either way, my Furry Giraffe is kind of dead weight. It is just clicking Ally Switch, Hyper Voice, and but at the very least, Ally Switch is kinda negative once again, because we do take Sludge Bomb damage with my Garchomp. I click Earthquake because I want to knock out this Gengar substitute, because what if Gengar dodges Rock Slide, because Rock Slide is such a wonderful move and we all know how Rock Slide works, and I don't want to miss Rock Slide. Down goes the Gengar substitute and down goes my Fire Giraffe as well, because as I said, I could not switch out, as Hydro Pump knocks me out from Rotom, which is kind of surprising because I was behind light screen and I didn't expect Hydro Pump to knock me out. But at the same time, even if Hydro Pump did not knock me out, I'm pretty sure it would have left me just at the point of health where poison damage would have knocked me out. Now this turn, I expect my opponent to fear Tailwind with my Corby Knight, even though I do not have Tailwind. I have Body Press, Brave Bird, Iron Defense and Roost, but my opponent does not know that. So expecting them to predict Tailwind, I know that they are not going to protect, because giving my free Tailwind is going to be very tragic for them. So I do double target the opponent's slots. I click Brave Bird into the Gengar and I click knock off into the Rotom, because I have to knock off this Rotom, otherwise it will have dealt super effective electro type damage into me. Down goes the Mega Gengar finally, and down goes the Rotom finally. Now in comes the Incineroar, which we saw at the beginning of the game, and their final Pokemon is going to be Volcarona. So my opponent is choosing their Pokemon, like slight spoilers. It is going to be Incineroar Volcarona at the end. Now Volcarona is fine. Incineroar Intimidate is reflected back to it thanks to my Covenant's Mirror Armor, which is going to help me once again. And uh, this unfortunately I do get Intimidate dropped on my Absol. Since I have Light Screen up, so I know that I will be able to live one Heat Wave from this Volcarona or Fiery Dance. Not a Fire Blast though or Overheat though, but Heat Wave or Fiery Dance we can live. As we do live the Heat Wave, I do go for Brave Bird into the opposing Volcarona, trying to knock it out, but it lives on a very little amount of health. Activates Flame Body, burning my Corviknight, which is very depressing as we do live on very low health. We do get critted by Fake Out onto my Mega Absol, which I did not mention, but yeah, this game is full of hacks. We have flinches, we have crits, we have poison damage, we have everything, we have burns, so it is fine. If I do get critted on the Mega Absol, it is fine. Now I need to knock out this Volcarona, and expecting me to protect with my Absol, expecting their Volcarona to protect, I expect them not to target down into my Absol slot and target on my Corviknight slot instead, which my prediction does work out. Like it was kind of complicated of a prediction, but yeah, I expect my opponent to predict my protect, expecting the Volcarona's protect, and they target down my Corviknight instead of my Absol. Down goes the Light Screen, which means I have to knock out this Volcarona this turn, because there is no way Corviknight is going to live Heat Wave now. But we still have Roost and Iron Defense, Body Press, all that to stall out this Incineroar. And thanks to my Absol's knockoff, which knocked off its Chople Berry, my opponent's Incineroar will not be able to live super effective Body Press, which I'm about to throw at this Incineroar after a few turns. Down goes the Volcarona finally, and I click Roost with my Corviknight. I mean, even if they did not click Flare Blitz into my Absol this turn and kept on clicking Flare Blitz into my Corviknight, I do have Swords Dance Play Rough, as I said, to hit Incineroars. So I would have, if they kept on spamming Flare Blitz into my Corviknight, I would have gotten a Swords Dance, and I'm pretty sure Body Press and Play Rough would have KO'd their Incineroar. Now this turn, because they went for Flare Blitz into my Absol, I can click Iron Defense, and because they're at -1 attack and I'm at +2 defense, this Flare Blitz is going to do absolutely nothing. But they click Throat Chop for some reason. I guess they didn't want to take Flare Blitz recoil damage, which is fine. But as I said, I am at +2 defense, they're at -1 attack because of Mirror Armor. I click Roost this turn, trying to get my health back, because now I know that because I'm essentially at +3 defense effectively, I will be able to live Flare Blitz very comfortably, unless I get critted, which could have happened because there were so many crits in this game. So a crit was not the most far-fetched thing in the world, which if I do get critted, I do get critted, it is fine. If I lose, I lose. Fine. So yeah, now because Chople Berry is knocked off, I can click Body Press, do a lot of damage into this Incineroar, and this Incineroar cannot do much to me. Even after the burn, this Body Press is going to do so much damage, brings Incineroar down to 11% health. As Flare Blitz, it goes for Flare Blitz, brings itself down to just 2% health, and now I can finish him with Body Press, Brave Bird, anything. uh, like I click brave bird this turn just to be bad manner, I guess, but my opponent clicks forfeit and I win. So yeah, this is the game, this is the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.